Hello and welcome to another edition of the Vulcan Sportswire. I'm Gary Smith, and I'm joined, as always, from his undisclosed location, high atop a building in the central part of California, University of Pennsylvania. Hint, he's not in the Knoll Water Tower, so don't go searching there. Sports Information Director Extraordinaire Matt Kiefer. Matt, you look well rested. You look like a man that knows the spring sports season is coming to an end. It's going to be an exciting end because there's championships and everything to talk about, but at least summer vacation is ahead of you, very close, instead of 4 or 5 months out.
Definitely closer to the finish line than the beginning of the race or the middle of the race. That is for sure. So I can see it. I don't want to get there yet, but I know it's there.
Yeah, I know a couple weeks ago, both of us were it was like Groundhog Day. You go, do a game, come home, sleep for a few hours, get up, do the same thing for about 2 weeks. So it looks like both of us have gotten a little bit of sleep. I know you have a little one at home probably keeping you up, but nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been adventurous the last couple of days here, but again, we got championships, and it's that time of year. So thankfully, again, spring championships are always the best ones because one, summer's coming, and two, there's nothing else coming up right behind it, like how you have basketball coming behind football or baseball and softball behind basketball. So that's the nice thing about spring. When it's done, it is done, and break is here and ready to relax and wind down a bit.
And before we crank schools out for the summer, we have some business to attend to, and we're going to start with the business of PSAC Playoffs, and we're going to start with the softball team last Wednesday traveling up for a first-round best-of-3 series, a little bit different this year with Gannon.
Yeah, it was one of those things. Everything's a little bit makeshift this year, championship-wise, but you know what? Makeshift is better than nothing, as we had last year. But again, the Vulcans went up to Gannon. It was best of 3. Unfortunately, they couldn't force that if game on the second day of the tournament. They lost 2 games, both in dramatic fashion, really heartbreaking way for the Vulcans in the season. Lost 2-1 on a walk-off loss in Game 1 on a wild pitch of all things. But again, walk-offs happen in all shapes and fashions. You have walk-off walks, you have wild pitches, home runs, ground outs. They're all very unique in their own way. But in Game 2, they lost 9-4. They had the lead, but then again, gave up 6 runs in the 7th with 2 outs. Just an unfortunate way for the season to end for the Vulcans, but so young of a roster. It's one of those things that it's a building block for sure for Coach Bertinoli and the entire Vulcan softball program.
And definitely, I think if you would have polled this, anybody around the program, around just the area at the beginning of the season, and said this team's going to make it to the PSAC playoffs, I think the team has overachieved, like you said, a young squad and not really having any time to get ready with just the way the weather is and with COVID restriction and everything like that. But they definitely overachieved, and I think that the future is bright for the team now back at home, so you can come to the Lilly Field and watch some home games. But definitely a team that's going to be on the rise here in the PSAC in years to come. Yeah,
they finished the year 19-10. Just looking at the roster and the lineup from the time again, the third baseman, the right fielder, the center fielder, designated player, and second baseman, and left fielder were all freshmen. So, that is the bulk of your lineup in baseball or softball. You get 9 there. That is the better half of it. And for all of them to get that experience as a freshman is definitely going to help them not only in 2022, but even the next 2 or 3 years down the road as the program continues to get back and getting in impact players to fill out that lineup and the pitching staff.
And congratulations on a great season to Coach Bertinoli and his team, because, like you said, I can't wait to see what the future holds. But, Matt, that ends softball. But there was another PSAC championship over the weekend, and that was the Track and Field Championships through the multiple tunnels on the other side at Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. And I tell you what, I'm not going to steal your thunder because you've been talking about this the last couple of days, but what a performance by one special player on the Vulcan women's track team.
Yeah, Junior Devon Franklin is the name. If you've watched this or listened to the show for multiple weeks now, you will hear that name constantly, and for good reason. She won a combined 3 league titles, the 100-meter, 200-meter, and on the 4x1 relay. So, again, second time in her career she's won 3 at one time at a championship. She was named the most outstanding athlete of the event, and deservedly so for her achievement. But also with her, and then also a number of other females gave the Vulcans their best ever finish at the PSAC Championships. Finished 3rd overall. It scored in 10 of the 21 events. So when you're only scoring in half the events, you got to have a point total that's really, really impressive. And the 88 points was also the most in school history. And it actually came down to the last race on the last day between Caillou and Slippery Rock who would take home the second place trophy, because Coach Shippensburg, they're just doing what they do. They find a way. They ran away with it. But it was down to the last relay of the last day. Slippery Rock finished better in that race, and they ended up taking second place with 94.5 points. The Vulcans finished with 88 points. So that tells you how close of a championship event it was for the Vulcans. Just narrowly missing getting the hardware for the first time in program history, because first place and second place get trophies in track championships and most every other championship here in the PSAC. But Devon wasn't the only one that had a standout performance for the Vulcans on the women's side. Jalissa Mackey ran the 100-meter hurdles, and she won both the prelims and the finals. In talking with Coach Kaffa, we are pretty confident saying she's the first 100-meter hurdle champion in school history in 2 decades at least. The last person of any hurdle to win was Danielle Millay in 2008. So great job by her getting an individual title in the 100-meter hurdles. And also she was on the 4x1 that Alicia Collier, a senior, and Tatiana Young both were on. So great job there for the Vulcans winning that relay title in the 4x1. It's their first league outdoor title since 2016. They've won some indoor relay titles in the DMR with Julie Friends and Summer Hills over the years, but outdoor, it's been a while, 2016. So a great job by them. And then still not done in track and field. The Vulcans really did well in the high jump, had 3 individuals score in it. Beyonce Kelly, Aaron Meckler both scored top 5 finishes there. So, and then Aaliyah Lewis did a great job in the triple jump, finishing second. I know talking to Slippery Rocks SID, they thought they had the math figured out. And then once she did her second place finish in the triple jump, they were like, oh, we got to go back to the drawing board here. This race is going to be a lot tighter than we thought, just because of how great of a job she did there with a distance of over 11.7 meters, or for us, Gary, that's 38.5.
Thank you. Thank you for the math.
That's a long way to go in the air. So a great job by her, earning all PSAC honors there in that event. So, and a number of others individuals scored as well for the women. Kaylee Bunyard actually finished third in the 100-meter hurdles behind Lewis with a time of 15.15, which was over 0.2 of a second faster than her seed time. So a great job by her. And Alicia Collier scored in her last championship race, finishing fourth in the 100-meter hurdles, in addition being on that relay. So it's great for her to score again because, again, 3 years, I guess it'd be 2 years ago, she won the 100-meter hurdles when Devon was still a freshman and still trying to learn the ropes of the college game and everything else. But Collier scoring in the 100 meters for her senior championship was nice to see her coming back for that 5th year and getting all PSAC on the relay and also scoring in the 100.
And I tell you what, with the PSAC championships almost being like a mini Olympics with everything kind of moving towards that last event, I mean, just having it be that close for places in that last 4x100. And that's such an exciting race in general. That must have been such a wonderful experience for the athletes to at least get to that point and know that, hey, you know, we have a chance with this one race to get up another place. But congratulations to them. And on the men's side, I know there were some outstanding performances as well.
Yeah, the Vulcans actually matched their best ever finish. So you had the women setting it and the men matched theirs. So, again, a great job for both programs. Again, remembering they had no fall training, they had no indoor championships. So everything geared from when they came back on campus in January to this weekend. And they did the best they could. They finished 6th. Last time they got that high was in 2017. Sophomore Timur Jackson finished second in the 200-meter dash at 21.95, earned all PSAC in the event. And then senior Avery Boa Gisler, he earned all PSAC honors in the 400-meter dash by posting a time of 49.57. It's the second time he's actually got all PSAC. He was a member of a relay team earlier in his career that got that status. But those are the only 2 all PSAC performers. But, again, there's a number of them. Jalen Cloud scored in the triple jump. Noah Bernarding scored in the 800-meter run. Those guys were also on members of relay teams that accounted for a good number of points there for the Vulcans. So a great weekend for the Vulcans there over in Shippensburg at the PSAC Championships this past weekend.
And moving on from PSAC championships, we're going to move on to the NCAA championships. Men's golf had one person compete up at Mercyhurst. And I tell you what, was not the greatest weekend, I'm sure, to be on the links, but any weekend's great, I think, if you're competing for a spot to move on in the NCAA tournament.
Gary, you're a golfer. You know, any day on a weekend's a good one there to be up on the course. So, but freshman Tyler Kipp, again, this is a learning experience really at this point for him to get in this event, be in this kind of field. I mean, it's one thing to be out there with your team, just playing rounds and trying things out. But when you're the only person there and you're seeing everybody else having teams, it really changes the dynamic, I think. He didn't shoot, I guarantee, the round he wanted to for over the 3 days. But again, I shot a 25 over 241 at the event, an 82, 80, and a 79. So again, improved the score each day, but not drastically enough to really vault up the leaderboard. He finished a tie for 54th overall. But it's one of those things, it's more of an event for him. He had 3 birdies and 28 pars. So just sort of getting on the course, seeing how things went. But you and I spoke earlier over the weekend about an exciting kind of finish. I mean, you had track coming down to the last race and everything like that. But men's golf actually came down to a playoff hole for the team qualifiers because the top 4 teams go to nationals. Fayetteville State and Bentley both tied for 4, so they had to play a playoff. And then on the individual, you have the top golfer who's not with one of those 4 teams. It gets kind of confusing, but follow along. The top 4 teams get to go, but the next best player who's not on a team on the leaderboard gets to go. Well, Bentley couldn't go as a team, but their senior, he got medalist honors, Tommy Ether, and he won a playoff hole to get there. So a 2-hole playoff. So that'd be really exciting to watch there in Erie. And the kid had 8 birdies over 3 days on a course that wasn't playing exceptionally great with the weather conditions. So great job by him being able to click that kind of round. But again, a learning experience for Kipp. He's the first freshman. He's the only freshman individual qualifier at the event, and he's the first one for the Vulcans since 2008 because they had team qualifiers from 9 until 19. So a different kind of experience for him and Coach Coughlin, but bigger things coming for him and the men's golf program.
If you wonder how Matt keeps this all straight, if you're watching this on the video portion, you see the dry erase board behind him. Usually there's scribbles on there and some string, and it almost looks like he's on an episode of Chicago PD. Not doing anything illegal, just like Voight would do, but just trying to keep everything figured out with strings and finding out where all the places and stuff are. So like I said, if you're ever if you ever find Matt's undisclosed location, pop in and see all the writing on the wall, because it's quite impressive how he keeps it up squared away in his head. But Matt, that's not all. One last team is in competition this past weekend, ending the regular season in an important 4-game series. California Vulcan baseball team at Gannon, and then Gannon coming home to Wild Things Park, and also the Vulcans honored seniors and gave out some impressive hardware. But what a weekend on the diamond for Coach Conte and his team.
Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting weekend. You had a lot of teams really vying for seating, vying for spots. The weekend basically opened with only Seton Hall locked in, guaranteed. Mercier solidified theirs on Friday, but you had Cal U, you had Gannon, you had EPJ somewhat in the mix. You had Slippery Rock definitely in the mix, but everything was basically a must-win. The Vulcans had to win at least 2 on Saturday after how Friday's game went. But Friday, they suffered a 5-1 loss in the opener. Just one of those things. It was a 2-1 game, and then Gannon got 3 runs in the 6th to sort of put it away there. But game 2, I mean, an absolute pitching gem for the Vulcans and also for Gannon. Vulcans won a 2-1 pitcher's duel. You can say that because Caillou only got 2 hits in the game. But it's quality over quantity because, again, both those hits were home runs. So Jacob McCaskey, Loudon Conti, both solo home runs gave the Vulcans the win in that game that sort of helped set the mood for Saturday with the Vulcans coming back to Wild Things Park. And
I tell you what, that is a great way to set up for the weekend because, unfortunately, we weren't able to be there to cover the doubleheader on Saturday due to graduation. But I tell you what, just watching live scoring on calvulcans.com and also the text you were sending me, it looks like they picked the wrong weekend to schedule graduation because talk about a clutch performance for the Vulcans. Basically needed 2 wins to feel safe about it. I know there was other scenarios where they could split but other teams, but 2 wins was pretty much what they needed, and I tell you what, team delivered on Saturday.
Yeah, but I always said, former colleague of mine always said 16 wins will get you in the conference playoffs in baseball just because, again, it's just how the numbers sort of work out and things like that. And sure enough, finished the regular season at 16-12 in league play, and they got in the playoffs. But in game 1, Vulcans got down early, 1-0, but Jacob McCaskey, again, he had a home run the day before. He actually started pitching in game 3 of the series and was absolutely dealing early. He got a lot of strikeouts. He finished with 9 strikeouts in the game. 7 of his first 10 outs were by strikeout. So he was definitely getting it going. And the Vulcans got 2 runs in the bottom of the first. So he got that lead right back. So that was huge there. But then again, senior day. So, of course, what happens on senior days, you have seniors step up big. Aaron Provisky had a couple big hits in the game. Josh Rankin had a couple big hits, got a solo home run in the game, 3 RBI. So that's what you want to see on senior day. Those guys knowing between games is when they recognize seniors in baseball. Get that great momentum going from game one. Get yourself mom and dad on the field, whatever it is. Celebrate with your teammates, and then go take care of business in game two. And they certainly did that as well.
And game two was a nail biter. It was tied for the longest time, but then, like I said, Matt, I got home from graduation. I sat down. If I would have left the Convocation Center, the game was still in the second inning, you would have saw me. But it seemed like that game was tied for a long time. But whenever I got home, that's whenever you called and said they got the W.
Yeah. Again, got up early, 1-0 the first, got 3 more in the second. You're like, okay, what's going to happen here? Vulcans found a way to right the ship, made a couple key pitching changes, tied the game in the third inning, 4-4. Just like you said, then it stayed tied in the fourth, stayed tied in the fifth, and then sure enough in the sixth inning, just like Loudon Conti did in game 2 of the series, came up with a huge game-winning hit basically in the sixth inning. He had 3 hits on the week over the weekend, but 2 of them were game winners and 1-run victories. That's definitely the idea of being impactful and clutch for the Vulcans there. I'm sure his dad was very happy for his son, but also very proud for the entire team by knowing once Loudon got that hit that the team was making the playoffs and finding a way to get in there. But their seeding still wasn't finalized yet. They just knew they were in. They didn't know who they were playing, where they were playing. Gannon didn't know if they were in. It all came down to Sunday and completely out of the hands of Caillou and out of the hands of Gannon, and good old hands of Mother Nature and Slippery Rock getting their games canceled after starting in must-win games and must-needed played games because that's the mandate of the league. That Sunday was the last day to play games, and once that became official, Gannon slid in at the 4th seed, and Caillou took the 3rd seed in the upcoming PSAC tournament.
And we're going to preview that opening round matchup for the Vulcans here in a couple minutes. But one other thing from this past Saturday, the Vulcans recognized one of the longest, I guess not longest, but one of the more prestigious, and I guess it is longest running, it's been over 10 years, pitching award, the Bruce Del-Canton Award. And Matt, for those of you people watching out there that don't have Bruce Del-Canton's baseball card on their office, just explain what that award is and why it's so important to the Vulcan baseball family.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of people that have cards from a guy who made his debut in 1967 just hanging out in their office. I have one at my house, but I don't have it hanging in my office.
Got to have it in the office, man.
Yeah, he played 67 to 1977, so he played a decade in the majors. He's from Pittsburgh. He was actually a charter member of the Caillou Hall of Fame here in 1995. And even then, 10 years in the major leagues is great, but it's really what he did afterwards. He spent the next 2 decades plus with the minor league system of the Braves, and also he worked a little bit in the time with the major leagues too. And he coached over 30 future major leaguers while with the Myrtle Beach Pelicans and some other teams that he was down with in the minor leagues. But again, 2 notable names he coached, John Smoltz and Tom Glavine. You may have heard of those guys. They have some hardware in Cooperstown that's pretty so Bruce Del-Canton was the namesake of the award, and very much deserving. Nick Riggle earned the award for the 2nd time in his career. He won it in 2019. Last year there was no award. We felt it wasn't worth presenting it when the season and everything going on in the world 365 ago just was unknown. But again, Nick was justifiably deserving of it. He's 7-3 so far this year. It's a 3.15 ERA, which leads the team. Durable. I mean, he started 11 games. He's got the 3rd most complete games in the conference at 5. And he has a career high in strikeouts. And that's not even counting the fact that he is tied for the all-time school record for wins. Hoping he gets a chance tomorrow to maybe break that record, hopefully so. But he's also top 10 in school history in innings and strikeouts. A true workhorse, pillar of the program the last 5 years, and a very much person that's going to be hard to replace for Coach Norro and Coach Conti going into next year.
And I tell you what, he's a guy that anytime was on the mound, you felt like the Vulcans had a chance. And 2 things that stick out to me this year, the 2 games that he went head-to-head with arguably 2 of the top 4 pitchers in the PSAC, the starter for UPJ and the number 1 for Seton Hill, and stared them down and led the Vulcans to victories in those 2 games. So congratulations to Nick Riggle for getting the Del-Canton Award for 2021. And, Matt, that's not the only awards for this week. We got the Vulcans of the Week, which is always put together by you in your office, and a secret panel of levers and pulleys, and it's almost like voting for the Pope. We got to look for white smoke out of the new water tower to see whenever it's released. But Matt, who are the Vulcans of the Week this week?
Yeah, we go on Tuesdays. There's some coaches don't understand that quite yet, but we do go on Tuesdays. On the women's side, it is no question really. Again, Devon Franklin, you win 3 titles in the conference championship. You're named most outstanding athlete of the event. You're going to get the award. I mean, when you win the 100, win the 200, win the 4x1, you won every sprint title out there you could possibly win. Again, that's just her individual accomplishments, but again, all those points she accrued to help the Vulcans post a third place finish, be in contention for second. No question, Devon would get that award. Men's side was a lot tougher. I mean, we had some really nice candidates from track. It did some really nice PRs, baseball getting into the tournament. But again, we went the familiar name, Jacob McCaskey, who we went with again. Game 3 of the series, must-win game, throws his first career complete game, ties his career high with 9 strikeouts, gets a lot of them early, only gives up 2 runs. And also, because he's Jacob McCaskey, he hits as well. He had 4 hits in the weekend, including a solo homer in the game that they won 2-1. So clutch hit there, 4 hits. Got a hit in every game in the series in a complete game victory. Gave it to Jacob McCaskey on the men's side, and then obviously Devon on the women's side. And so again, 2 names you've heard quite a bit on this show this season for very good reason, and 2 that are not probably done collecting awards. If I had to take a guess at this point in the season, there's something else down the road those ones might be claiming here. We'll have to see what happens with different regional awards that come out, but both of those individuals definitely going to be in the front runner for some more hard work coming up.
And congratulations to them for an outstanding week. Like I said, both of those players you mentioned that won the awards, you were texting, we were talking about both of them. It seemed like they were always in our conversation, so much deserved. And that leads us right into this week. There's a big event tomorrow. Vulcans in the playoffs, baseball team based largely on the heroics of McCaskey and company on Saturday, but making the travel up I-79 to Mercyhurst. And Matt, that is going to be a tough one game, and it's a 9-inning game. So break down all the numbers and everything people should know to root on the Vulcans.
Yeah, it's just like the women. Softball was a different format of best of 3. Baseball is going with a single elimination, sort of like a wild card kind of game in the playoffs. You see Major League Baseball for round 1, and then it shifts to semifinals, West versus West, East versus East in the semis, best of 3, and then the winner of the West series and the winner of these series get to play each other in the West. And another best of 3. So, again, a lot of unique ways to come up with a champion, and this is the way the PSAC came up this year with it for baseball. Mercyhurst and Cal U split during the regular season. Mercyhurst is one of those teams. I did the numbers earlier. They have won the PSAC West either outright or a share 8 times since joining the conference in 2009. They've won 3 regional titles since 2015. They're always that team that has guys that are getting drafted or getting looked at by the pro. They always have the pitcher of the year. Basically, it seems like this year, again, it's no different. I mean, I think Hyde from UPJ will probably win it, but they have a transfer from St. Bonnie. Michael Caruza leads the league in wins at 9. But the thing is, he's made 19 appearances, all as a reliever. So you're going to see him tomorrow. You don't know what inning you're going to see him, but I'm pretty betting that you're going to see him at some point. And he is a absolute beast on the mound. His ERA is just under 2.2, and you're like this one, Gary. He averages his strikeout to walk ratio is 3rd best in the country. He strikes out 14.25 batters for every walk he issues. So he's allowed only 4 walks this year and 57 strikeouts. So when you see him, you know he's going to throw strikes, and the guy is absolutely amazing on the mound. Another one of those guys for the Lakers. It's just they always find these guys that just seemingly are pro-ready, draftable pitching prospects, and I expect his name will be at some point, whether the draft league in Morgantown or somewhere, he's going to find a way to keep playing pro ball after his career is done.
And pitching is so important in the PSAC tournament. And also, if they move on, or if any team moves on to the NCAAs, because the games now are 9 innings. If you're a fan of PSAC baseball, you know that typically it's 2 7-inning doubleheaders. A lot of 28 innings over the weekend, but now 9-inning games kind of changes the formula for pitching and stuff. So definitely something to look at, especially if you got arms that can do that. That's definitely going to factor in at some point over what you hope is a long week, 2 weeks for the Vulcans. And
you see in the Major League Baseball, too, 9-inning games. Anybody's available. It's a must-win game. I mean, you're assuming you're going to see probably Nick Riggle to start, but Dylan Brodsky might be in there in that mix. Maybe Dylan comes in reliefs if he need long innings, if something would happen at lead. Patrick Gumpto has absolutely shut down this entire season. He did it again on Saturday in Game 4 of the series through multiple innings. Huge clutch factor there. Loudon Conti missed the series earlier in the season, so he'll be back in the lineup. So for the Vulcans, and then again, Aaron Provisky had that huge home run a couple weeks ago up at Mercier to win the game in relief. I think it was actually off of Cruza. So it has been done. It can be done. They've done it before this year, and it'd be a great, exciting game tomorrow to watch for sure. Up at Mercier there, and they are permitting fans. So anybody who's watching this, there are fans permissible, but again, only 75 fans from Cal U, and most of them are going to be baseball parents, friends, and family. But again, if no baseball players, you want to make the trip to Erie, you live near Erie, reach out to some baseball players on Cal U's team. They might be able to find a way to get you a ticket. Just bring a chair and bring a mask.
And also, if you can't do that, our friends at Mercier's will have it streamed, and all that information will be on the Cal Vulcans website. Matt will update that on the game day information. So multiple ways to watch, and good luck to Coach Conti and the team. And hopefully we'll be talking more about their triumphs next week on the show. And then, Matt, we're almost out of time here, and it's time for the off-the-wall question. And thought long and hard about this one, mainly while you were talking during the Bruce Del Canton Award segment. We're going to come up with the Matt Del Kiefer Award, and it's going to go to your pitcher. You're going to award it to your pitcher from your show franchise or Diamond Dynasty team from last year, because I know you haven't jumped into the show this year. But who is getting on the Matt Kiefer Diamond Dynasty staff for the show 2020? What was it, 2020 or 2021? Whatever last year's game was, well, who's getting the Matt Del Kiefer Award?
Oh, man, I don't even know. I had so many good guys. Our rotation was absolutely filthy. But, again, anytime you go with DeGrom, DeGrom Finest was probably the best card in the game that I pitched with. So I'd probably go that one, which, again, anymore, you basically pencil his name in to win the Cy Young and give major innings. Just hope you get me some more wins on my fantasy team right now, though. That's the big thing for DeGrom.
Well, I would give mine to Bob Gibson, probably a gold level, because I don't have the grind and diamonds that you do. But like I said, that might have to be the new thing, the Matt Del Kiefer video game pitcher award. So, Matt, any final thoughts before we end the show?
No, it should be a good game tomorrow. Baseball track is looking at possibly adding another last chance kind of meet, so keep an eye on the website for that in case they choose to go somewhere else to try to have some people with some more NCAA marks. Devon Franklin and Beyonce Kelly both top 10, so they have a chance to make nationals, and they probably will be going, but there might be some more going pending how this last chance relay would work out wherever they end up going. Hopefully get another one or two Vulcans going to nationals. Actually in Grand Valley State is where that will be hosted this year.
And that website, of course, is calvulcans.com. You can also follow along on Twitter at calvulcans and Instagram at calvulcans. So Matt Kiefer, I'm Gary Smith. We'll see you next week on the Vulcan Sportswire. Go Vulcans!